I am at Chaco Culture National Historical Park in New Mexico. This is the third and final installment of my first visit to this spectacular and sacred canyon. In this video, we'll go through some comparatively smaller Chacoan ruins like Pueblo Del Arroyo and Casa Rinconada. Make sure to check out my prior videos on Chitro Kettle and Pueblo Bonito, which are linked in the description. Pueblo Del Arroyo here is within eyeshot of Pueblo Bonito, the largest and grandest of the great houses. While this one isn't as significant as Bonito, it is still a huge complex of ancient ruins. Pueblo Del Arroyo, like the other great houses scattered about the canyon, was planned out by Chacoan architects and builders. It was then constructed between 1060 and 1125 in two stages. This pueblo had about 300 rooms, which is somewhat underwhelming compared to Pueblo Bonito over there, which had over 600. Actually, some believe that this pueblo may have been built because Pueblo Bonito was getting so overcrowded. There's still plenty of authentic vigas in the structure, which are always really neat to see intact after so many centuries have passed. There are 14 small Kivas here, but no Great Kivas. While Pueblo del Arroyo is certainly not the most impressive ruin here, it is still very sizable and well worth checking out. Now on the opposite side of the Canyon Loop Road, this is the trailhead for Casa Rinconada, which does not count as a great house. This location instead has a Great Kiva with some scattered small village sites. While Pueblo Bonito and Chitro Kettle are right along the northern wall of Chaco Canyon, Casa Rinconada is near the southern wall. The name Casa Rinconada is Spanish for corner house or house where the canyons meet, which is a pretty accurate description of this beautiful spot. First, the trail passes by three small village ruins which were near the Great Kiva. There were probably about 50 small villages like this around here. These sites are not as well preserved as some of the great houses. All that really remains is the foundation walls. At some spots in these villages, there is mixed masonry, and that is because houses were built on top of older houses over time. These villages were occupied between 1075 until the 1250s, which was when the Chacoans abandoned their canyon in magnificent society. Many of these smaller villages, which may have been the residences of extended clans or families, have small kivas. Chaco Canyon itself is a very majestic place. Even if the Chaco culture was never here, it would still be a beautiful spot to visit. Here is the trailhead for King Kletzin, another Chacoan ruin, but it's 2.6 miles away, so I'm not going to hike that this trip. And here's the Great Kiva of Casa Rinconada. It was a bit unusual to have a Great Kiva of such significance isolated from a major great house. Archaeologists aren't really sure why they did that. Regardless, this is definitely one of the largest kivas I have seen at Chaco Canyon or in the southwest. This Great Kiva is very similar to the Great Kiva at Aztec Ruins National Monument, and there they have fully reconstructed the Great Kiva. If you want to check out my video on the Aztec ruins, you can get a sense for what this Kiva looked like 900 years ago. Look at that, there's a little lizard creature roaming around the Kiva. Here's a doorway into the Kiva and the antechambers. There is another doorway on the opposite side. Also, the doorways are keyhole shaped, which is really interesting. This was a ceremonial and political center of the Chaco culture. Lots of important ceremonies would have been held in this chamber. The remains of the fireboxes near the center of the chamber are still there. Here is a long underground passage from the Kiva. This may have been used as a backstage area from which performers would suddenly enter the chamber. I don't know if I've seen this at any other Kiva. Casa Rinconada is definitely an important stop while visiting Chaco Culture National Historical Park. It is a little different from the Great Houses, if you were getting tired of them. On the opposite side of the canyon is Pueblo Bonito. You can see it from way over here, and if you look atop the canyon rim above Bonito, you can see Pueblo Alto. I did not have time to hike up there this trip. I will do that another time. I found an angle where visitors can get a pretty good glimpse at a Chacoan stairway. They built a series of very wide and very impressive stairways and pathways up the canyon walls to connect with the Chacoan roads to outside communities. They planned and engineered the roads to be 30 feet wide, and they had to carve their way out of the canyon walls and cliffs, so they built wide staircases like the one that can be seen here. That's pretty amazing, and sadly visitors are not allowed to try and climb on it. If you look out there into the canyon, Fajada Butte is visible, but there is also a herd of elk. I was not expecting to see wild elk out here in this desert canyon. Obviously I don't want to get too close to them, so I'm going to keep my distance. But there's some freaking elk. This is cool. So that was my first visit to Chaco Culture National Historical Park, and this is a must-see national park and historic site here in the United States. This place was for a time the center of the Puebloan world, and was probably the most advanced indigenous society in what is now the United States. So it's just absolutely fascinating. I had known about this place for a long time, but didn't realize just how amazing it was until I actually visited. There are several locations I didn't visit or hike to today, so I will be returning here in the future. If you enjoyed this video, then make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Also, if you haven't already, make sure to watch the first two parts on Chitro Kettle and Pueblo Bonito here at Chaco Canyon. Those videos will be linked in the description. Additionally, I have filmed hundreds of other videos on local southwestern history, national parks, roadside attractions, museums, and more. Thanks for watching.